Welcome to Greg Hansen's Video Notebook. I'm Star Sports editor Ryan Finley here with Greg Hansen. Greg, we're breaking in, by the way. Back from vacation?
Yeah.
I'm also back from vacation. I think we look good. Who is more tan? I think it's you. Kills me every time, Greg. So tan. Anyway, we're back from vacation, just in time for Pac-12 Media Day. And in case you didn't see it this morning, Greg, Arizona Wildcats picked to finish last in the Pac-12 South. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm kind of surprised.
I was surprised at the depth of how far they were picked to be last.
Yes.
Not even close.
Cal got more votes.
And ASU got 50 more votes, which is a considerable amount.
Right.
And ASU is really not very good.
No. How much of that is sort of brand identity? I know that's a strange thing, but if you're asking somebody in Seattle or Pullman to pick between Arizona and Arizona State, they go, well, ASU's probably more of a football school, so.
Yeah, and that's funny. That's always been the case from 1978 to now.
Right.
And Arizona's actually had the better football program.
No question. Yeah. I mean, and you look at even the head-to-head matchups. Yeah. Arizona's better. How did your poll shake out? You sent in a poll this year, didn't you?
I picked Arizona last.
Mm-hmm.
I think that ASU will be about the same.
Mm-hmm.
But the Territorial Cup's in Tempe, so I kind of gave ASU a little more.
Who wins the league?
Wow, USC with Sam Darnold, the quarterback, unless he gets hurt.
Washington's not bad either, though.
This is one of the better Pac-12s in a long time, don't you think?
Yeah, I think maybe it's a little top-heavy. But yeah, it's going to be a really good league. I think that you could see, just like last year, whichever team wins the league, I think will have a real shot at winning a national championship. And you could not say that most years, I think, since sort of the implementation of the new playoff.
You know the league is strong, and I agree with you, because UCLA with Josh Rosen at quarterback is picked third in the Pac-12 South.
Right.
And generally gets in the shade. Washington State, I think, might be better than UCLA.
Right. Here's a fun fact. Rich Rod, Todd Graham, Jim Mora. We're all hired within like 2 weeks of each other. Yeah. They are all three on the hot seat this year. Whose seat is warmest?
Well, I think it's got to be Rich Rod, because Josh Rosen's going to win some games for UCLA.
Yeah, I think it's Mora. I think Mora has done what you could say. I think what you could say about Rich Rod is
he's done less with Mora.
He's done less, right? Exactly. Jim Mora has done less with Mora, right? Or UCLA has done less with Mora. With Rich Rod, I think they overachieved so much in their first couple of years here that maybe your average fan didn't understand just how hard it is to win here a lot. Now, they've certainly underachieved the last 2 years. Jim Mora has better players than almost every team they line up against. And he's cantankerous. He's cycled through some assistants, not unlike some of the changes we've seen in Arizona in the last year or two. I think this is Jim Mora's year to win 10 games or leave town. With Rich Rod, I think that bar's a little bit lower. I think it's probably 6-6 or 7-5, and he's okay.
If Arizona wins the first 3 games,
right, which they should,
I still think they'll go 2-7 in the conference.
Okay, that's 5-7 overall.
But if they do go 6-6, it all depends on how many people show up and who they beat.
Right, and it depends on what the 6 looks like. Yeah. I mean, do you win your first 3 and then lose 7 straight? I mean, do you win your first, or 6 straight? Do you win your first 3? Do you beat USC? I mean, last year, it's funny, the fact that they beat Arizona State and beat them soundly in the last game of the season washed away, I think, a lot of the doom and gloom that sort of built up during the season. Is it as simple as go 500 and beat Arizona State? I don't know.
Oh, there you go. I think you can boil this whole conversation down to one thing. Who wins the Territorial Cup?
Isn't that the definition of every football season at the U of A? Where you go, well, if they just win more than 4 games and beat Arizona State, it's a good year?
Yeah, but it's getting exasperating, isn't it? I mean, Arizona's now been building since 1998.
Right.
They almost got there with Mike Stoops. They thought they might get there with Rich Rod, and suddenly they're back in the bottom of the barrel.
Well, and how about this? Your season can't be considered a success if you beat the worst ASU team in 15 years. I mean, and that's really what happened last year. Is you can kind of say, well, Arizona beat ASU, so successful season. But ASU stunk. Yeah. And ASU might stink again. It may be, I mean, to me, it'll be really interesting to see the trajectory of both Arizona and Arizona State this season. If they're both sinking together, who pulls the trigger first, for starters? And will that prompt the other team to pull the trigger? Keep in mind, they didn't fire Dennis Erickson at Arizona State until after Arizona had fired Mike Stoops. And I think those two things were related.
Yeah, there is intrigue in the season, even though it's not a fun intrigue.
Right.
It's a like watching a car wreck almost.
Right. Right.
And you know, it's the least anticipated U of A season I remember since the John Malkovich days.
Probably. Now, I'm just back from vacation. I'm tan. I'm in a good mood. Let me throw this your way. I think it may be impossible for them to be as bad as they were last year.
Arizona?
Yes. That would mean that the injuries that killed them popped up again, that they had the same roster problems that they had a year ago, that nobody had learned from an extra year of coaching under all these new coaches, that the new wrinkles that they put in didn't work. I mean, it's almost like I'm switching sports here. Remember last year the Diamondbacks were brutal? And rather than blow the whole thing up, they brought everybody back for another year thinking they'd be better, and now it turns out they're pretty good. Is it possible that just, if everybody does kind of what they're supposed to, that they'll be 5-6 win team?
You know, I could see that happening, except their front seven on defense is not at Pac-12 standards.
No.
How are they going to stop anybody? Maybe they can outscore a lot of teams, not a lot of teams, a few teams, 47-45.
Last question before we go, Greg Hansen. And I'm just curious about this because I love his backstory. Donovan Tate.
Wow.
Is he a preseason feature story on the front page of the Arizona Daily Star and then just a name on the roster for the rest of the year? Or is he a guy?
I think you got to utilize him right away.
Right. He's not getting any younger.
I mean, who knows if he's a passer? We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
If he's a passer, you can use him right away.
Right. Right. Because Khalil Tate is not at first glance a passer. Brandon Dawkins, I think, sometimes is a passer, sometimes isn't. If he can come in and make all the throws, you got to think he'll compete for, if not win, the starting job.
You got to think he's better than Anu Solomon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Anu Solomon left knowing that he would not start this year.
Oh, sure. That's, you know, I hadn't thought about Tate for quite a while, Donovan Tate.
Donovan Tate.
That's the whole wild card right there.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
How about this? If Arizona, pie in the sky stuff here. If Arizona goes 8-4, and if Donovan Tate is their starting quarterback, they're on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Rich Rod is the coach of the year.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Right. Now, the odds, if I win the lottery tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'll go buy my own island. But, I mean, to me, that's what makes this year interesting. I'm not sure they're going to be very good, but I think that this is going to be a very interesting season if you're a U of A football fan.
Oh, sure. Just the Houston and UTEP games, games you normally wouldn't pay any attention to, now have a big element to them.
Right, right. They're almost must-win games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Greg Hansen's Video Notebook. For Greg Hansen, are you ready for football? It seems too early for football.
Hey, the Yankees are in the race. I'm thinking about baseball.
He's thinking about Aaron Judge. He's probably got like a 99 tattooed on his back.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.